Hey, I'm Connie.
And I'm Connie.
And we are
Bad News Travels Fast. So today we are going to talk about
soulmates.
Is there such thing as a soulmate? What do you think?
In my perspective, I don't think so. So let me say it. I think Monty and I was just talking about this. So I agree with her point that somebody can become your soulmate because God gives us choice. So if it's only one person for me and I decide I don't want them for whatever reason, I don't like a flaw they have, right? And I don't want them, then the cosmos is off, so to speak. But I was listening to something and I really agree with their perspective. They talked about soulmate. They said they didn't believe in soulmate, but they believe in a commitment, that you would always find somebody that's more, beautiful than your partner or your spouse. You can connect with somebody on a level maybe that you might not connect with your spouse on, right? So,
right.
For instance, my sister's into music, her husband's not, right?
Okay.
So she's around
she
music.
Can connect with another person,
another male who's a musician who understands music, understands lingo and stuff like that.
Right.
But that has nothing to do. That doesn't make her spouse not her soulmate.
Right. Which can create intimacy too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that it's about your commitment to the person that you did marry.
Okay. So is there soulmate or is there not?
I said no. I was giving my reason, my rationale why.
Okay.
But I think Monty said something that was good, that you could become soulmates. There's a togetherness that comes, because some things you're going to learn and go through with your spouse, you're not going to go through in the dating phase. Like, you just have no idea about it.
So true.
You know what I'm saying? So
yes.
Sometimes you connect more than, like, after a challenge. Using my sister again, my nephew passed away, and she wasn't married to her husband at the time, but after going through that together and the selflessness he displayed and all that he did in that, it could connect you stronger.
Right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be called a trauma bond? Or no? No, I'm just asking.
Does she have to really go there? Does she have to go there?
No, I'm saying, it could be in a good way, not necessarily the way we often see the trauma bond.
It could be a good thing, but it's a greater appreciation. And, you got to see a part of your spouse that you hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
And him caring for a child or your child in a way that you didn't know, because that can always be the concern with blended families.
Yeah.
Do you love them like it's like this is your child? And so I think in that creates a deeper connection. So I think some of that comes in the process of being married that you won't know at the time of dating or courting, even if you courted for 5 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, child. You can court for 15 years and still not experience everything that you're going to experience in marriage.
Right. So I would say no. But what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought about oftentimes when somebody's going through in marriage, I'm always talking about marriage.
Okay. You're married. So
whenever somebody's going through in marriage, we'll say, like, if they're going through, like, really, really bad, like one of the spouses is jacked, we'll be like, was there any warning signs prior to?
We do ask that, because that was my question to somebody too.
So we'll ask that
as if,
well, okay, so there's a lot in that.
Okay.
We'll ask that, which kind of puts, I don't want to say blame, but it kind of puts the onus on both parties, not just one, because it's like, did you see that he was abusive and you married him anyway, or her,
right.
However it goes. But also at the same time, I think that now that I've been married, as long as I've been married, there's things that you will never see until you get married.
Yeah.
Because a decision makes someone act a specific way.
Right.
So, for instance, your sister's son passed away.
Yeah.
So, she's experiencing pain in a major way.
Right.
We have no idea how she's acting, right? Mm-hmm. He could have never seen her act like that before.
Right.
So, of course, that's a traumatic situation. Yeah. But there's oftentimes you'll see someone based off of what's happening in your life at that moment. Change of job, you're buying a house, whatever else. Taxes. Because a lot of times they say that people, which I don't agree with this term, that people are divorcing because of money. I believe people divorce because of how the spouse handled the money. So it's still on the spouse.
because it's decisions.
Right. I don't think money has anything to do with it, but it's the way the person dealt with the money. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, if I'm in a traditional marriage, let's say the old traditional marriage, because it's not traditional these days. But let's say I'm home, I'm not working, my husband's working, he's bringing in all the money, I'm just taking care of the 2 kids we got or whatever. And he decides, I don't need nothing ever. I don't need new shoes. I don't need new clothes. I don't need, what I got is good enough.
Because you're in the house?
Because I'm in the house and I'm not working.
Okay.
So what do I need new clothes for? I ain't going nowhere. Okay. You look traumatized about it. You're like, oh. So I've seen that happen though, where one spouse is like, look, you don't deserve all this over here. Or you don't make, I've seen women do it.
Yeah.
You don't make enough money, so I ain't got no respect for you. You don't make more than me. I've seen it all kinds of ways. You know what I mean? So you had no idea when you were dating,
right,
that they would be possessive with the finances when you were joining together. So there's a lot that you don't experience when dating, and you just have to kind of be prepared for, not prepared for those particular things. But I think us as Christians, right, we need to be in prayer asking God to reveal the person to us.
I don't think we pray that enough. Even myself included, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we praying that enough. I might pray for his character. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No,
I might pray for his character, for him to love God, to be honest, transparent, all those things. I'm not saying, Lord, reveal him to me.
Right.
Right? Not just so I can know what I'm getting into, but also how I need to minister or pray or whatever.
How you need to flow, period.
Yes.
Yeah, reveal him to me. And it doesn't have to be revelation by traumatic situation.
It doesn't. It could be good things, yeah.
It could be you had a dream. God is showing you whatever your gifts are. God can show you in dreams. He can show you in visions. He can just talk to you. Yeah. I mean, there's so many different ways. Right. Or he can show you something on TV. Sometimes people get revelation by sight. But however, you know, God can do that. He can do that for saved people, but whoever's listening, he can do that. He does that for sinners as well. Right. It's not.
He's always speaking.
God, I don't even want to get into that conversation. Right. Okay. But I'm gonna say, like, we all have that intuition, we all have that discernment, and we can all tap into a place where God can reveal to us. Or as some people would say who are not Christians, the universe or somebody. But anyway. Claudia is like, I do not appreciate that. What?
So, all right. So we did.
So,
is there a soulmate?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So I wanted to. I looked up the statistics on. I believe when people say, "I got my soulmate," I believe them.
Okay.
They feel like they got their soulmate. They got the perfect person for them.
Right.
I don't believe that's for everybody.
Okay.
Because, first of all, everybody is not raised the same way. Everybody don't know the same information. So sometimes you're going to marry someone who needs to mature in some areas. They're not necessarily going to be your soulmate because they got to mature in some ways concerning you.
That's a good thing too. Like, you mature in marriage. You mature as you get older or as life happens. Like, challenges come to make us stronger. I know I'm quoting scripture, but challenges come to, and it brings things out of you that you didn't know existed.
Yes. Yes. So the current population right now, all over the world, not just the U.S., is 7 billion people. 7,889,007,650. It keeps switching because people are dying and people are having babies. Okay. So the current 7 billion. Okay. The current male population is 3,980,000,000. There's numbers after that.
I got you.
Okay. 3,980,000,000 men are on Earth.
Got it.
3,908,000,000 women are on Earth.
Really?
Yeah. But now, if you go to the U.S. statistics, there's more women than there are men in the U.S.
Yes.
So how do you find your soulmate when God is not making it where every time somebody dies, every time somebody is birthed?
Right.
Meaning like,
you die at 102, somebody's born at 102, like kind of like that.
Right. So it's not even.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's not going to get married. Just saying. That's not to discourage anyone. I'm just saying. It's not, if you live in, let's say we live in Virginia, and there's 9,000 men and there's 6,000 women, there's 3,000 men that have to go somewhere else to find a woman. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, we're talking male-female relationships. We're not talking about people who are gay
or transgender.
We're not talking about those who aren't doing the traditional way. So that also decreases men or women,
and then
depending
the ones
on
who are in prison.
People who are in prison.
Male and female.
They can get married, but you know, it's an unconventional. Okay, so yeah. So I had to really think about this because I was like, am I being pessimistic? I don't believe necessarily that there is a soulmate for everyone. I think that you can grow and mature. And I think the main thing that you need to have, most people would say the main thing you need to have is love. I don't think that anymore. I think the main thing you need to have is humility.
Let's talk about this love thing.
You need to be able to change.
And adjust and compromise.
Yeah, all that is based in humility.
Yes. Let's talk about why love is not enough, right? I'm a fond believer. I was like, I love a lot of people I ain't with.
Love is not enough. I'll give this example.
Okay.
You're in a family. Mm-hmm. You have an absent father. Mm-hmm. You love him. The relationship is not
good. Existent. Right.
It could be non-existent.
Right.
It could be that every time you come in contact with your father, he's narcissistic. He's blaming you for the relationship he don't have with the mama. I saw that on that show. That counseling show. Yeah, I was like, oh Lord.
Oh, In Treatment?
Yeah. In Treatment. In Treatment is so good. It's a show.
See, I got her hooked now.
It's a show on HBO Max. Yes, like it's counseling. You literally can receive counseling by the counsel that's happening, or even the lack thereof. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But my God. So watch In Treatment. That's so good.
I use this so I could diagnose a client for school, but it's so good. I'm going to watch all this.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I think that humility is what causes us to surrender our lives to Christ. Humility is what causes us to change for someone else. Mm-hmm. And I don't even mean to say it like in just that, like those terms. It's like, I love you enough to stop doing this because it's hurting you.
Right.
And only humility will do that. Because you have marriages where you got two stubborn people who I ain't changing that.
That's how I am.
I got an attitude, and you met me with an attitude, and I'm just going to be having this attitude. So, the humility isn't there. You know, the pride is connected to the attitude. You know what I'm saying?
And the resistance to change.
And the resistance to change. Now, I could be like, we need to beat our kids, and my husband be like, we should never beat them. We should always put them in timeout or something, mm-hmm. or take something away. If neither one of us is willing to budge, we now have a major conflict with raising children.
You do. And there's going to be a lot of triangulation. It's going to be a lot of picking the parent you're going to ask what to.
Yeah, it causes so much confusion. And then the child who appreciates whatever discipline is only going to be drawn to that particular parent. So it creates a divide in the household.
Very much so. And that'll be the bulk of the arguments, because it's like, oh, you let them do this, but I don't want them. Yeah, it's just bad.
Right. Bad. Yeah. I even made that mistake yesterday. Like, my son was not home. He's driving home and he's texting me, can I go XYZ? And I'm like, as long as you ain't asking me for no money, as long as you ain't asking me for no ride, sure, have at it. But not realizing he's coming home. His dad is here. And so it looks like I'm just letting him do whatever. You know what I mean? And so I sent him a text because I came home and he left. Sent him a text like, hey, your dad was here. You should have asked him as well. Because I didn't know that Sean was here. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's looking like, you know, because Sean's like, where did he go? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, I said he could go to such and such. But the way it's looking, you know what I mean? So, you know, I don't necessarily believe in a soulmate per se. But I do believe that we can be joined together in love and matrimony and all the good stuff.
And make it work and compromise and grow together, you know. Yeah.
Or you can end up with an abuser. It happens. It happens. No. You can end up with the worst person ever. Don't feel bad about that. I think that we will make bad choices sometimes. And sometimes the choice that you make after that has to be a drastic one, like divorce. Mm-hmm. And so is there really a need to be condemned for a long time because you got a divorce? It's almost like you got this scarlet scarf on every time you walk into church. You're the divorced person. You know what I mean? It's not, your life is more than that. I don't know. I just feel led to say that.
It is.
Your life is more than marriage or divorce. You are who God created you to be. So go forward with whatever God is telling you to do. Don't revel in the condemnation and what we have been, unfortunately, how we have taught that divorce is like the worst thing you can do. You know, it's one of those major things in the church. It's like, don't get a divorce unless he's cheating. You know what I mean? But if he was slapping you, or even just emotional abuse, you coming home and you got to deal with the emotional torment of somebody always playing with your mind and playing these games and all of that type of thing. And God releases you. Don't bind yourself to the people.
Well, we do that.
Or to the church building.
A lot of times we make decisions like that too, right? Let's use just abortions. And I'm not saying everybody, but sometimes it's like, yo, what are people going to think? What are they going to say?
If I get an abortion?
Me? No, if I have this baby.
Oh, right.
So we err on that to keep it a secret because we're worried about the opinions of others.
Right.
And that's a hard thing.
Right. And some people have gotten abortions because they were afraid to walk in the church pregnant.
Or afraid of how their parent was going to respond. Like half of our parents didn't have kids young.
I know, right? And that's why abortion is so major. The unfortunate thing is we don't see how major it is in the church. We ignore those statistics. We ignore the statistics of people being aborted in the church. We ignore the statistics of divorces going on in the church. Do you know the statistics of divorces in the church?
I don't.
So I forget what it was, but it's like up to 80%. Whatever it is, it's like 5% less than divorces outside the church.
Right, just like it's 8% less than people having sex not before married in the church versus people who are not in the church having sex. You still people like, you know, I don't know. I don't know if it's the expectation. You know, I think sometimes there's a lot of pressure on you to be perfect or to never make a mistake or something like that. And so I think people err on the side. Let me say this, right? So I know a person who, like their boyfriend was abusive and, you know, and the family didn't like them, right? So what did the family do? The family never came around them, like in their house and stuff like that. But the abuse is always there. So when you do have a moment and he's not being abusive, he's comforting. So sometimes when we reject people and pull away, we push them closer to the abuser.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I think that there needs to be some love around that. And I think that sometimes we struggle with how to love someone who has made a mistake and love them through it and coach them, because you have your own condemnation. You have your own stuff you're beating yourself about. You don't need that to come. You don't need other people to come and add to it. And so,
right. Man, that's so hard. Because if you're coming to me and you're saying to me that he's doing this and he's doing that, he hits you every now and again, okay, I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, that's not supposed to be a thing. What you mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? But you're like, he has so many more great characteristics than this one issue. And I'm thinking,
this one issue
can kill you.
Yeah.
And I hate to go that far with it, but it's like if you go years and years and years, he's hitting you once a month, then he's hitting you twice a month, then he's hitting you 3 times a month,
then once a week,
then I mean, it just, that demon grows because you're giving it food to eat. You are the food, right? That demon grows. It happens more and more and more. Next thing you know, your life is on the line. But it is so hard hearing you tell me about the abuse, and I literally cannot convince you to get out of that relationship. So I think what we're saying is, even in that case, Jesus, Father, you have to be strong to have an understanding that you can't change her, you can't change him. Be there for her or him, whichever side is doing it, because men get abused too. Be there for your friend. Don't just let them go off of like, man, I'm done with her. She dumb. She is dumb. She's making a very dumb decision. But at the same time, a lot of times that dumb decision to us is being made out of something deeper. So for instance, me being an empathetic person, right? Mm-hmm. Empathy being my greatest, I call it a gift, but let's say empathy is my greatest gift.
You think you?
It's always at the forefront. So because of that, I had people molest me. I had a person rape me. I never told because
you ain't want them.
I cared more about them
than you did yourself?
Than I did about myself. I had more empathy for them than I did for myself. And so the enemy will use whatever. If you have a gift, he wants it. And
if you have a good heart, he wants it.
He wants it. So if you're showing empathy to people and stuff like that, he wants your empathy. So he will use your empathy against you. Right. What we forget as empathizers, because I know that there are people out there who are empaths. I found out I was an empath. So you got to have balance with that and know how to flow with it. You also have to have empathy for yourself. And so a lot of times you'll have empathy for everyone else. And you got to use that same gift for yourself. Mm-hmm. And you got to care more about yourself in certain instances. Like I need to be in a safe situation I need to put myself in a safe environment.
And we have to also create those environments as well, because I find that like my mentees will do this. Like if they feel like I'm going to be disappointed or I'm not going to like something that they did, they just won't tell me, right? But then them not telling me keeps them in their situation longer.
Right.
And so it's like, I don't think I could talk to her. She's going to be whatever, And I remember when one of my mentees came to me and she's like, she's pregnant again with a guy that I don't like. And I just listened. I didn't, I just talked to her and listened, because she was contemplating abortion. And I just didn't want to say, hey, don't have an abortion because it's wrong and the Lord's going to do this, right? So I'm praying really to God, like, God, what do you want me to say? Because I know she really needed him and not me. And when I told her, like, yo, you had the last one. Like, yo, it's like she had the baby. Somebody gave her a debt-free Jeep, right? She got an apartment. She's been wanting to get an apartment for a while, but she was approved for one now. So it's almost like after that happened, the doors started opening. Mm-hmm. And so I just had to remind her of all that God did for her when she had the first one. I'm like, why he not going to take care of this one? Right? And so all the benefits that happened. Now she had the second one. That girl done saved $10,000. She still has a 2-bedroom. She's been working from home. You know what I'm saying? She got another van.
Wow.
Right? And then she came to me, and it was just so, just the awesomeness of God. She came to me and she said, you were right about God taking care of me with this one.
Yeah.
That's what she needed to hear. Not don't do it because it's wrong or whatever like that.
Right.
Because you already know that because you was already struggling with it. Right? You already knew that. You needed something else to give you the hope and the will to say, I can do this. Because her family was telling her, girl, don't do it. I did it. Don't do it. Don't have 2 kids without, with a dad that's not there.
Right. And I think that's key. Just seeking the Lord for wisdom when you're talking to people who are in abusive situations. Right. No matter what you think, no matter what you feel, just keep praying.
You definitely need wisdom because it don't matter what I tell her. Her hope for this situation, I'd be like, I feel like I'd be like, what else he got to do? He got to kill you. Like, that's what I feel like. It's like, what is it, that's going to make it? So doing all that and saying all that to her didn't keep her away. Right. So now I got to start giving her something else because that ain't working.
Yeah. Hope is powerful.
I know.
Hope is more powerful than faith. You can have faith for something, but if you put your hope with that you will never let that go. You will never let that go.
You're trying to consider it, because it's
that's hard to swallow because we're like, faith is the big word. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. Like we know scriptures about faith.
Substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. But
I have seen people have faith. But I've seen people have hope, and that hope will keep them in a situation where it's life or death. They'll take the death because they're still hopeful about life.
Yeah, because how we have defined faith is, the anticipation that something good will happen. So you're just anticipating because one day it's going to come.
Right.
It's kind of like how our ancestors felt like one day it's going to come. We seeing it.
Yeah.
Right? But their hope caused them to give their life knowing it was going to happen one day.
Child.
We don't have that type of stuff right now.
Yeah,
No. Okay.
So, well, praise God. We don't necessarily believe that there are soulmates, but tell us what you think. Do you believe that there are soulmates? Maybe you have your soulmate. Your soulmate.
Soulmate?
Maybe you have your soulmate and you believe in it 100%. Let us know what you think. If you disagree with us, just
say that too.
Put your comment in there. I disagree wholeheartedly. We're cool with that. We're cool with that.
Well, you're still looking for yourself.
Right. So you want to do the...
Okay. So we're going to showcase a Black business. And so his name is David Robertson, and he has Uncle Dave's Tacos. I'm putting it close to the screen. I'll post it.
Over there.
Oh, shoot. Okay, over here. All right, thank you. So it's really, really awesome. He cooks really, really good. For those who are vegans, he does have a vegan option. He recently did some like chicken tacos, and he also did some steak tacos, and he also can do the vegan option with some, potatoes and different things like that. He will travel to you. If you want to have an event, you can book. His website is uncledave'stacos.com.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
And you can follow him on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram is Uncle Dave's Tacos, and Facebook it's Uncle Dave's Tacos. So you can reach out to him. There are some videos on his website and on his Facebook and Instagram page of him making the food. I'm going to post some on mine. But yes, really, really good food. Great cook. Has a real work ethic. We'll stay there, make sure everybody's satisfied, make sure the line is filled. So definitely book him. It's, things are opening back up. We can have things outside. So if you have it at Memorial Day cookout, 4th of July cookout, Labor Day cookout, check them out.
All right. Uncle Dave's Tacos.
Yes.
Got my mouth watering. I'm hungry.
I know.
All right. So our Black History moment is Claudette Colvin. Does anybody know who that is?
Yes.
Before there was a Rosa Parks, smarty pants. Before there was a Rosa Parks, there was a Claudette Colvin. Okay, so it was March 2nd, 1955, when the 15-year-old schoolgirl refused to move to the back of the bus. That is 9 months before Rosa Parks stand that launched the Montgomery bus boycott.
Mm-hmm.
Claudette had been studying Black leaders like Harriet Tubman in her segregated school.
Mm-hmm.
Those conversations had led to discussions around the current day Jim Crow laws they were all experiencing. When the bus driver ordered Claudette to get up, she refused. It felt like Sojourner Truth was on one side pushing me down, and Harriet Tubman was on the other side of me pushing me down. I couldn't get up. That was her words.
Mm-hmm.
Claudette Colvin's stand did not stop there. She was arrested, thrown in jail. She was one of 4 women who challenged the segregation law in court. And this is Browder versus Gale. It became the court case that successfully overturned bus segregation laws in both Montgomery and Alabama. Why has Claudette's story been largely forgotten? At the time, the NAACP and other Black organizations felt Rosa Parks made a better icon for the movement than a teenager as an adult with the right look. So
you see how they felt even.
Hold on. Rosa Parks was also the secretary of the NAACP and was both well known and respected. People would associate her with the middle class, and that would attract support for the cause. But the struggle to end segregation was often fought by young people, more than half of which were women.
Exactly.
So Claudette, I believe, was dark-skinned. Rosa Parks was light-skinned. Rosa Parks was an adult. Claudette was a teenager. And they just thought they could reach more people using
the lighter person.
The lighter, older person. So that was even going on back then, child.
The colorism.
The colorism thing.
Even within our own people.
Yep. So we don't know Claudette. Or there was 4 women.
Yeah, we don't even know their names.
We don't know their names. Yeah. So
young people, stand up. Like, we got this. Let's go.
Yeah, man. It's amazing how much power that you have and how you can use it for good and use it for justice.
Because I think when you're younger, you don't want to, you ain't putting up with stuff. When you get older, it's like, all right, whatever. I don't got the energy out, not like that. But like when we young, we like, nah, like that ain't okay. We not taking that. Right. And so the fight that we have for righteousness, for justice needs to continue. Like, that shouldn't die.
Yes.
That shouldn't go anywhere. That shouldn't say because you're young. It is a lot of sacrifice. And I think people consider that sacrifice like it'll stop my comfortable living, so to speak, or what I have. And so sometimes we're silent when we shouldn't. And so I want to say this last thing. I was talking to, I'll just say my friends. And I was thinking about Juneteenth because it's coming up. And I was looking at shirts on Amazon, and they had one that said July 4th, and it's crossed out. And it was like, Juneteenth is my Independence Day because my ancestors wasn't free in 1776.
Until Juneteenth.
Right. And so one of them said, hey, I like that shirt. I don't think I'm bold enough to wear it.
Right.
And I appreciated the honesty.
Yeah.
But then I dug deeper. I'm like, why? And they was like, I want to do, it was a male. He was like, I want to do some things, but I feel like I need to be established and then I could wear it. And so I guess they almost felt like, wearing it right now might hinder what they want to do later because people might not like that, which, I got.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Which I understood. Mm-hmm. But, for me,
you're like, look, I'm trying to get a job. I ain't trying my boss to see that shirt and be like, oh, you a power to the people. No. I'm just saying. Okay.
Yeah. But some young people, they don't care, and they'll wear things or whatever like that. And I feel like people have an opinion about everything you do.
This is true.
So just make sure. I think, who was it? I was watching something, and they were like, if you say you have faith or you believe something that you're not willing to die for, what's the purpose of believing in it?
Child. That's a good question. What we willing to die for? Nothing.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
We want to die in our sleep.
Right.
We do.
Right. No pain, no experience. Nothing having to do with death except closing my eyes and never open them back up again. That's it.
I ain't even mad. That's how I want to go.
I used to say I wanted to be translated like Elijah.
Okay.
But then I thought, if I get translated, my whole family's going to think I'm missing. they're going to think I was kidnapped. I mean, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I get translated, everybody don't see it.
Right, and then there's no body, so it's like, oh, you know, that's
they're going to think I'm missing. Right. Yeah, so maybe that's not a good idea. But anyway, Claudette Colvin, there's a book by Philip Hoose, Hoose. It's a very good story about Claudette.
Check it out.
Yes, so please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on
Instagram?
Instagram, yes. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook.
And YouTube.
All right, well, y'all have a good day today. God bless.
Bye.